mention something
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
You
Go
had
ahead.
said about market shifting, and it's interesting. I was talking with some friends, clients that bought and sold with us back October, November. And we were talking about how during that time, they pretty much, as home sellers, netted the most, even for today's market, had they waited till today. But they were in a better seat when they were buyers then, because actually the market was kind of in a lull September, October, November, maybe even into December. And then it shifted, and we really got this selling frenzy, right? And it's interesting because, we don't know when it's going to shift again. And all of a sudden things shift and we go, oh, wait, it's not the same anymore. And you said things change quickly. So right now the tide is still, sellers are in a very good position if you're thinking of selling a home.
The interesting thing is we're going to see some statistics. We've already seen it this year that the number of home sales are down, and it looks like that's going to hold true through March. I'm sorry, not March, April. I've already been looking closely at the April numbers and just where things are at. And the number of sales are going to be down over last year. Of course, 2021 was a record year for home sales in the Albuquerque area. And so, you got to compare it to that. The thing that's interesting about that, just because the number of sales are down doesn't mean that home prices are going down. And so what we have is this very low inventory number of homes on the market, and we still have strong demand even with the higher interest rates. And so home prices have continued to get pushed up even though, the number of sales have slowed down.
Right.
So you got what I'm getting at is people are going to see headlines that say home sales are slowing down. Home sales are down 10% over last year. And everybody's going to say, oh, no, the market's crashing. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah, dig deeper.
Yeah.
Don't read the headline.
Yeah, there's always one more, 3 more, 10 more, 1,000 more data points that need to be considered. So
you and I have these conversations almost every morning over coffee, right? We talk about different headlines and we read the fine print that's in the story sometimes that's not very pronounced, and it's really misleading. One of the things that I noticed this week, Tigo, is it seems like some of the people that might have been home sellers before, besides some of them have decided during the whole pandemic and times after now that they are remodeling and adding on to their homes. And so it's really, that people aging in place, they don't want to go somewhere like an assisted living and be locked down. That was very pandemic related.
Yep.
But a lot of people kind of got in their mind how to make the home they're in more their own. Now there are some supply chain issues, but we've talked to several friends this past week who had time during the pandemic that did remodel and did add on to their homes, and that's part of an inventory shortage that we have.
Well, and I think part of that, people feel confident in investing in their home and doing upgrades in their home because the market has been so strong and we've had this, big appreciation over the last few years. So people feel safe in, putting that money into the home. I think there's some of that going on as well.
The other thing we've seen just from our experience here in real estate and having friends is some are upgrading, changing their primary residence, but they're keeping the house they had and making it a rental property, and just decided that was part of their wealth building strategy. So, honestly, Tigo, we talk about that, right? That real estate is very wealth building. So we teach that. We want them to do that. And we do need rentals. So they're putting them in the rental pool on some level, whether it's short term or long term, and moving to a different home. We've come across that a couple times. So I just thought, people always wonder what's going on. There's one.
Yeah, no,
on it.
that is, and boy, we could go deep on that subject. There's been a lot of conversation nationally about, all these investors buying up the homes and keeping them from the first-time home buyers. That may be true in some markets. We're not, maybe a little bit, but in our market, that's not the case. It's most of the, investors are small operators that have a few properties. And
You know,
the thing is, we need rental properties just as badly, or maybe even more than we do resale properties from a supply demand standpoint.
it's true. Remember, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago now, American Homes for Rent was
Yeah.
buying up every house in the market that was around 200,000.
Yep.
Those houses are all in the rental pool still, and they're back buying houses. So interesting.
When I look at the stats on owner occupied versus non-owner occupied, so rental properties or corporate owned, we're still actually below national average on those.
Right.
I don't have the exact numbers, but let's say 15-20% of all the homes are corporate owned or non-owner occupied. Nationally, it's higher than that, closer to 30%. So we're in a good place there. So go ahead, Trace.
So one of the things, though, we're talking about that, and some people are keeping their homes, but we've also had kind of this influx of mom and pop rental home owners who are feeling like, hey, I'm done with this being a property manager, and they're taking advantage of it being a seller's market and netting the most they can for their rental houses or properties. Some of them are duplexes, fourplexes, or bigger, but most of the people that have called us to help them sell their investment properties and homes are, they have one or two or three, and they're ready to cash in and use that money for other things. So if you're thinking of selling some rental properties, give us a ring and we can help you with that for sure. Obviously, welcomehomeabq.com.
Oh, yeah.
#1 website, like Eddie says on our intro. Very nice, meaning it's the most used of local websites for real estate. But the easiest thing is call us on our phone, 448-8888. Obviously, that's in the 505. But it's 448-8888, and we can certainly see how we can help you, even if you just have a question about real estate.